For round 4 of the Formula One World Championship, the teams were in Europe for the first time this season at the San Marino Grand Prix at Imola. Michael Schumacher led the Drivers' Championship with 26 points, 6 ahead of David Coulthard and 16 ahead of his Ferrari teammate Rubens Barrichello. In the Constructors' Championship, Ferrari were leading by 15 points from McLaren. But it was David Coulthard who took his 11th pole position in his 111th Grand Prix. First at Brazil 2 weeks earlier, Coulthard had the advantage here. Alongside him on the front row for the first time this season was his teammate Mika Häkkinen. The brothers Schumacher on row 2, Ralf Schumacher out-qualifying Michael for only the third time in his career. Jarno Trulli equalled his best qualifying of the season on row 3. Juan Pablo Montoya, after his great show at Brazil, was on row 4. Heinz-Harald Frentzen, first here in 1997 for Williams on row 5. He's also still the current lap record holder. At the start, David Coulthard, with a bit of wheel spin, was caught by Ralf Schumacher going down towards Tamburello. Schumacher into first place, followed by Coulthard, with Jarno Trulli in the Jordan also showing up well from the start, and he slotted into third. Blistering pace on lap 1, 4.9 seconds covering the top 8. Michael Schumacher hit trouble early on and slipped down out of the points, overtaken by Montoya and Panis. First man to go was Alonso. His Minardi hitting trouble at the Variante Alta, out of control, and his first San Marino Grand Prix over at a very early stage. Another early departure, Jos Verstappen in the Arrows. Also out, Kimi Räikkönen, after a mechanical failure on his Sauber. He picked up a point in Melbourne, but hadn't scored anything since. Early pits caller, Jenson Button, starting from 21st on the grid. But the first stop was a disaster. Benetton couldn't get enough fuel into the tank. Ralf Schumacher, meanwhile, led the way with a string of fastest laps. Back into the pits came Jenson Button. This time, the fuel went in okay. But there were problems on the circuit for Michael Schumacher, delayed by a front left puncture, and the rest of the field streamed past him. Schumacher limped his Ferrari back to the pits, received immediate attention, but it appeared that any hopes of picking up points from this race had gone. Ferrari were now depending on Rubens Barrichello. Meantime, Ralf Schumacher was finding it all plain sailing, leading the way in his 70th Grand Prix. Meantime, Trulli at Jordan came in from third place. Michael Schumacher retired from the race. Disappointment for Ferrari, for the defending world champion, and for his thousands of fans. Michael Schumacher's first retirement of the season. Fellow German Heinz-Harald Frentzen was still running in 7th place. Into the pits at Jordan at the end of lap 26th. An 8-second stop dropped him to 9th place. Ralf Schumacher broke the existing lap record of Frentzen when he set a 1:25.524, coming up to half distance. At Williams, Juan Pablo Montoya was the first of the two teammates into the pits. 9.5 seconds, but he still dropped from 4th to 7th. David Coulthard, end of lap 28 with time in hand, stayed second. Montoya against Trulli. No contest. Ralf Schumacher from the lead. End of lap 29. Smoothly done, he stayed first. Häkkinen next in from third place. But he'd had Barrichello on his tail. And despite McLaren's good work, He dropped to 4th. Out went Mazzacane in the Prost, with a fire in the engine bay. And out too went Jacques Villeneuve in the BAR. Still no points for Jacques Villeneuve this season. Rubens Barrichello next into the pits, end of lap 33. Staying in 3rd place. It was the end for Giancarlo Fisichella, who'd run most of this race down the order. The end too for Eddie Irvine, another man yet to score a point in the 2001 season. Ralf Schumacher and David Coulthard, the only two with a chance of 1st place. Frank Williams on his birthday weekend, ready to celebrate. With good reason. Schumacher started to build up his lead once more. Was in for his 2nd stop at the end of lap 46. Good work by the crew ensured he was in and out without losing the lead. Rubens Barrichello on lap 47. And he too stayed in position, 3rd. But unfortunately for Montoya, in at Williams at the end of lap 47, everything went wrong. Burning brakes, a refueling problem. Then he stalled, eventually got underway after over a minute stationary, but out of the points. Jarno Trulli on course to finish 5th for the 2nd successive race. But it was another major disappointment for Montoya. After showing up so well, he ended San Marino with nothing. As did Tasso Marquez for Minardi. But for Ralf Schumacher, the full 10 points. Williams on the pit wall to celebrate, as the 25-year-old German came home to record his 1st Grand Prix victory. The first time that two brothers had actually won races in Formula One. Williams' first victory since 1997. Michelin's first victory in 17 years. And BMW's first win since Mexico 1986 for Gerhard Berger. Sheer delight then for brothers Schumacher. Ralf congratulated by Michael at the end of a great race. Ralf Schumacher joined by David Coulthard and Rubens Barrichello on the podium. Mika Hakkinen, Jarno Trulli and Heinz-Harald Frentzen picking up the other points. Nick Heidfeld for Sauber just missed out in 7th place. Olivier Panis drove brilliantly in a badly balanced car to finish 8th. Reward for Jenson Button after his frequent pit visits. He was classified 12th, 2 laps behind the leader. Among the notable names not classified in the San Marino Grand Prix, Juan Pablo Montoya, unlucky after a disastrous pit stop. Jacques Villeneuve, still no points in 2001. And Michael Schumacher, who completed just 24 laps. So it was Ralf Schumacher's day at San Marino. The crowd came expecting a Schumacher victory. They got it, but it was Ralf, not Michael. Michael stays in the lead, jointly with David Coulthard of the Drivers' Championship, Rubens Barrichello and Ralf Schumacher, the only other 2 drivers into double figures. In all, 11 drivers are still looking for their first points of the season after 4 races. In the Constructors' Championship, Ferrari still led the way. 40 points, 10 ahead of McLaren, Williams and Jordan, the only other teams into double figures, with Sauber the nearest challengers. So for Ralf Schumacher, a deserved victory. The previous year he'd had an exciting start. This year exactly the same, but with a different finish.
Yeah, it was the same situation, but this year I was a bit further and luckily David gave me the space. And yeah, I think it was a clean start. Beside that, from there on I was in front. I couldn't even believe it, to be honest. then pull the gap out. Then after a few laps I thought he was going to go a bit quicker, so I had to push again because I had to watch after my brakes a bit. And from there on it was a pretty long race, I must say. I mean, you know, it took ages, to be honest.
Pretty long race too for David Coulthard, who also didn't have the best of starts.
I moved a little bit just before the start and had to stop the car, and then that's when the lights changed, so I then got too much wheel spin. And to be honest, I thought that I was going to be swamped at the start, but I presume Mika must have made a bad start as well. And then I sort of sensed Ralph was on the inside, and I was getting ready to move that way. And then obviously I had to move to make sure that there was enough space for us all. And then I was interested to know just how quick he would be in the race. And obviously, to my great disappointment, I found out he was quicker than I was. So, congratulations to Ralph on his first victory, and to Williams BMW.
For Rubens Barrichello, his third podium this season, but no wins yet.
I had a slow start. I had too much wheel spin, but then I could follow everyone. I didn't know how many times they would stop, and I was just trying to overtake. I mean, Imola is very, very difficult to do that. I was losing time behind Mika, and luckily I had 3 more laps when he came into the pit, so I could go fast, and then my race was decided there.
It had been 22 races since a car other than a McLaren or Ferrari had won in Formula One. There could yet be a 3-cornered fight this year.